And this is about how to live a rich and full life. A nice, wonderful chapter to close out that's strictly from Amanda's perspective of what her father learned in his last days about how to do this at an even higher level. I was wearing a shirt yesterday in this room as we were going into this chapter that said, respect the grind. And he talked about, time and again, his pig-headed determination and discipline, which were absolutely superpowers. And at the same time, it was focused on maybe not 100% the areas he could have. And that's what Amanda gets to bring to our attention. So rather than me talking about it, as always, this is your room. You get a start, Don. Go.
I'm going to, yeah. So I want to just offer a phrase to everybody, which is so often, even I use the phrase, three kinds of people: make things happen, watch things happen, wonder what happened. Sometimes we live in the I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen world instead of I'm going to allow this to happen through my efforts, through my work. I'm going to allow things to come to me. I'm going to allow business to, be as big as I want it to be. So we, instead of having to force, we can invite. We can do the things that are necessary, fall in love with the process, and then watch the results show up. It's kind of, in somebody else's hands. So just a thought for you.
That I'll pipe in because that hits upon something, and this is where the Christian part of me comes out. So if you guys don't like that, you can tune that word out. But I really find when I am there trying so hard to force things to happen and control it and everything, the worse things get. And when I just say, okay, God, what do you want me to do? I'm going to let that step back. And if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I'll say, here's what I'm going to do. And but just allowing that, God did work in my life instead of me trying to force things. It works so much better because he's so much better at it than I am.
I would add an overlay that I took out of this was falling in love with the process, like we talk about time and time again. All of this forcing, this discipline and determination, which is key, a lot of us put towards the end result. And so when the results aren't showing up, we get frustrated, we get irritated, and we feel more pressure because the results aren't showing up. Where if we just fall in love with making the process happen, of building the models, following the models, staying on their operation and trusting, as you're saying, Sherry, that a higher power is going to make it happen. As long as we're doing what we know we should be doing, the higher power is going to make the magic happen. It's a much easier place to be working out of. What else do you guys have?
She even talked about this idea of talking with her Guruji. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But she was saying how she was talking about closing her business, getting a deal closed. And how they walk through this idea is so much pressure. And when she realized that was her goal, and when she made the decision to not make that the goal, to get in conversation and just be more present with the people that she was working with, to show ways of gratitude and all the rest of it, she more than increased her business by 1,000 and, well, I can't say it, so 1,100%. I mean, that's enormous. That's huge. Have we ever said that? Have we said I've increased my business by 1,100%? I don't think so. And how cool is that? So just, getting in her own rhythm, knowing that she was her own, she was running her show. She had been living under the shadow of her dad. And I think she finally realized she had something she could offer. And it showed up.
In that story, Celeste, there was a key phrase she used, and it had to do with when Guruji sent her back out to do those conference calls and all that. And she said, you have a chance to plant trees, like a whole orchard. And I started thinking about us, actually. I was thinking about all of us here on this call and how many planting a tree, right? We get to pour into people and help people grow. And when we do it in group form, Russ, I mean, you've had this meeting going on now for whatever, 3 years, 2.5 years. Talk about planting trees, right? And this is the work of pouring into people and helping people come out of the ground and grow up, grow mentally, grow physically, grow emotionally, grow stronger. And I think that we have a great possibility, but also a great responsibility to make that happen. And I say make that happen too. Allow that to happen through us. How about that? We're here doing the on earth work, and God's doing his or her share of that, whatever you believe, from someplace else beyond. But we get to do the earthly work.
Yeah, one of the things I've talked about a lot in my previous coaching world, as well as in this world, is that I actually, as a coach, don't do a damn thing directly. All I do is create the environment, and you guys actually make the changes happen. No coach is magically making changes in your world, though I love it when you guys give me credit. It makes me smile. You guys are doing the real work, though. All Don and I do is create the environment. And so Sherry and I, it's great going back to that conversation today. And I love that we're Monday launching into leadership, because we were talking about, things to get her recruiting. And she's asking, well, can I do this? And what do you think my answer was?
Yes.
Yes. Well, can I do these extra postings and this other stuff over here? What was my answer?
Yes.
And can I build? I love this. Can I start a mastermind around this? Can I invite the agents from Epic? Can I invite agents from outside?
Yes.
It's stepping into leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you now creating a space where you're assisting other people to thrive. And here's my absolute favorite part of this. When you do that as a leader, who actually gets the most bang for the buck at the end of the day?
Me.
You do. When you step into leadership, magic happens around you. And you grow faster. You accelerate. Time and time again here, she was talking about, she finally starts leading the company.
Mm-hmm.
And, the CFO, I think it was, comes and says, hey, we've spent $500 million on implementing this CRM. She's like, what's a CRM? Hey, we've spent a boatload of money over here and nothing's happened. And we don't have a way to pay our employees. Employee management system. I forget the label it was on. And she's like, what's that? Things are still going to happen behind the scenes. And as she stepped into leadership, all of a sudden, she started learning so much more about what was going on in her company. You guys will learn so much more about what's going on in real estate. You'll learn so much more about what's going on in the industry. You'll learn so much more about recruiting, if that's your gig, by leaning in and leading. What else did you guys pull out of the content?
From what you were just saying, Russ, without appropriate leadership, without tuned in leadership, I mean, that's another level. But for that company, for Chet and Amanda Holmes' business, was that like chasing silver bullets, like people trying to buy leads or whatever? They're throwing money at Salesforce without a real plan. Is that the same thing, different level?
Similar. Yeah, I actually want to take a different tact on this as well, which also, Sherry, by the way, might help you in our conversations from today. And Don and I were discussing this earlier this week, in fact, yesterday. Sherry was asking all these questions because she was used to management. People above dictating what the rules of the game are, and you playing within those rules of the game. So, gosh, I don't know if I'm allowed to post. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. It was all worried about that allowance, which is management. Leadership and management are almost diametrically opposed. Most companies say they have leadership, and what they say is management, top down, directive, top down. Don and I are never telling you guys this is how you have to do it. Instead, Justin, to you, it's just continuing to open up and allow people to actually bring great ideas to you. I have learned more. I have more coaching nuggets from you guys in this room that have come up that I've written down and then implemented into my conversations because you guys are a hell of a lot smarter. All I'm good is this whole R&D, rip off and duplicate. Grab your ideas and implement them. And if we're all doing that with each other, we grow exponentially. That's also what's incredible about this environment. Nobody's holding back. No one, oh, this is secret. I can't share it. Everybody keeps sharing. Everybody keeps implementing. We keep pulling from other places and learning. There's exponential growth that happens bottom up rather than top down. Does that help give you a little clarity, Justin?
Yeah, a little bit. There was a bunch of nuggets I took from this chapter that I really appreciated, but I think my favorite thing was I just took note that leadership does not equal management, like you said. But her last, like, closing paragraph, if you make this book your sales and marketing management Bible, study it again and again. And I think that's a key for me that I'll take away. Like, I got all these nuggets going through it the first time, but I really need to instill this wisdom in myself. You're muted, my friend.
Go for it, Celeste.
Just on page 299, the question is why gratitude is so powerful. And obviously, throughout this book, it's referenced being grateful and all, but I also think very clearly that the last book we read, where it talked about being recognizing what are you grateful for every day, what has happened that you are grateful for, and then also taking a moment to write down for what you are going to be expecting and grateful for tomorrow, letting your subconscious working on that throughout the night. I mean, it could change your life. It can change your life. Your mental state goes from lack and want to, I already have what I need. And because I now have the ability to give. It's so wonderful. It's like, I think this is something that's really playing to my heart right now, is to be in that place of gratefulness.
Well, I know you got a lot going on. And I also know that a lot of things that are happening in all our worlds are just part of the natural process of life. These are things that occur. They happen to lots and lots and lots of people. And so just know that this too shall pass if it's something that's difficult. By the way, if things are going extremely well, also know this too shall pass. There will be moments where things become difficult. It is an ever-evolving world we get to live in. And you're right, Celeste, this gratitude piece makes it to where the journey is actually enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
We would talk before in previous places where I was talking about this dichotomy between judgment and gratitude. That really is a key element. I love that she brought gratitude in and didn't talk about the judgment piece. Just know those two cannot operate simultaneously. You're either in judgment or you're in gratitude. And gratitude is where the magic is. And it's gratitude for everything. Imagine for a moment you go to a symphony. And the symphony is a special piece of music. It is only piccolos. It is 2 hours of happy little high piccolo notes. Yeah, you guys can go nuts after 5 minutes. because you have to have the full breadth for the symphony. There's got to be the bass drum. There's got to be the bass strings. There's got to be deep on a piano. There's got to be all of it that makes it this glorious symphony of incredible energy. And so having that gratitude for all the elements of whatever's happening, it's a game changer. What else you guys have? Don, I see you kicking it.
Russ, just real quickly, that you just spoke to the very lesson of the gap in the gain, which we finished a couple books back, right? And I just want to bring people back to it. This is not the first time hearing this, guys. You know, we live in either the progress and the gratitude for the progress we made, or we live in the lack and the limitation and what we don't have and what's not happening. And both are always present. Both are always present. It is purely a choice of where we put our focus. So just remember that we're making those decisions every moment of every day.
So back to all of our content. And thank you, Don, for bringing it back to Gap in the Gain. And we've brought it back to all this reading that we've done together. And right out of, I think it was chapter 8 or 9 here. It's not 4,000 things done. It's 12 things done 4,000 times. It's always coming back to the foundational elements. If you guys just focus on the foundation, magic will happen. So gratitude, is that a foundational element? Flipping, yeah. So are we going to be talking about it for the next 40 years together? I plan on sticking around here for 40 more years, hanging out with you guys, having these conversations. And do you think I'll still be talking gratitude? It's a foundational element in here, in all the material tying through. Do you think we're going to talk about attitude and energy over and over? To get in the weeds, do you think we're going to talk about calendar for the next 40 years? All these pieces that every bit of reading we're doing continues to loop us back to those until we're like running. We're sprinting to the finish line. We're going full tilt, just like Don Hobbs is right now. It'd be so awesome if, your mic was on because you'd pop on. It'd be beautiful. We could cut this into place. That being said, guys, man, I am just so excited you guys are sticking it out. Think about this. We started this book with 30, 35 people. We got 19 today. You are the ones that are implementing every single day. So, by the way, that gratitude ties into joy. How about some gratitude for ourselves that we're doing the work? Even if it's not showing up in the places we want it to, it is absolutely going to. You stay time on task over time. What else you guys have?
I think I want to put out a bumper sticker that says, I am pig-headed. I'm determined. Because I think our life needs to be so committed, so directed, that we're not going to have something sway us away from our goals.
That reminds me of, is it Art Williams that did the Just Do It seminar? You guys need to look up that speech. It's phenomenal. And I listened to it twice last night, and he says in there, and I don't know the numbers, like some big percent of the population will only stick with something for like 2 months, and then they fall off from it. And boy, am I guilty of that. And it's just that pig-headedness of just going and going and going every single day, letting go of the result because I know I'm doing the right work. And my fear has been I'm doing the wrong work, or I'm not doing enough of the right work. And just going to get plugged into just doing, the basics and trusting that it's going to work.
I wish Ryan were here, because he's an example of that.
Mm-hmm.
He really has stayed the course of making the calls, making the relationships, leading. He's leading people to a place where they will flourish. And I mean, he's really such a wonderful example of what we should all be doing.
And it comes from 6 years of time on task over time. 6 years ago, he was in absolute meltdown over picking up the phone and making a call. In all of my years of coaching, I never had anyone more resistant and defiant to doing the work on day one than Ryan. Just to put it in perspective. Okay? So for you guys, you're way beyond that.
I don't want to be in a room with Ryan being defiant and big, and that must have been spooky for you.
Well, it's literally we break for call time, and the TL says, "There's your project," and I'm over there getting in Ryan's grill about doing the work, and you guys aren't going to believe. For those that haven't gotten around Ryan, he's like 6'5",
Yeah.
military guy. He's a big boy. And for those that haven't been around me, I'm a little Frenchman. Okay. So there's definitely a distinct difference, and it was a lot of fun. Got him into it, and I went back there on 2 other occasions. So it was over a almost 2.5-year period that we built the relationship we have. And each time, because he was open to just doing the work, like you're talking about, so he was okay. I'm just going to do it. I don't care about the outcome. He was willing to go there, and magic happened. And then we could keep building on that in that environment. So he was open to the possibility. He let go of his story of it has to be this way. I have to be in this environment. I have to do it this way with all the story he had that wasn't serving him, that wasn't getting him over the finish line. He finally let go of and started something new.
Very impressive.
Agreed. I think I just love Ryan's energy and everything. It's kind of gives you hope that I too, and I love what you said earlier, Russ, and what the book says about one, staying focused on the positive and what we can do, not, all this negative stuff that seeps its way into our heads, but also in doing instead of doing a million things, which scatters you out and you don't do anything well, just focus on those 1 or 2 things and do it over and over and over until you see that progress. So thank you all for all of this.
You are welcome. What else do you guys have?
I've got a question.
Yeah, go for it, Justin.
Goes back to Sherry saying, and this may be a loose quote, but you said that you were guilty of falling off after a couple of months of something. What occurred to me is that's just like really in contrast with the gap and the gain. So how do we honor ourselves for the things that we were able to hold as commitments and make little shifts to build upon those? Is it just reps? I'm thinking just reps, being here every day. I felt that in that moment with you, Sherry. Like I could say that too. Like I'm guilty of making commitments and then letting them fall away. But I think that's at odds with the mentality that you need to build on those wins.
And starting today, we are changing that.
So let me work on this though, because if we focus on, again, what we were talking, I'm guilty of falling off. It's bad that I fall off. It's a problem that I don't do it. What is your subconscious going to give you more of?
Same.
Bad stuff.
So Justin, almost like you said yesterday on changing that negative slightly, none of you are guilty of falling off course, falling off task, falling off behavior. The only way you fail is if you're guilty of not getting back on.
And there is a part of this book that talks about gamifying things that are those things you don't want to do, supposedly. But if you think about it, it's those things you want to do. You want to increase your business. You want to have people in your downline. And if you
you don't, because we don't have those.
Okay, attraction. You want people that you can be in business with.
Thank you. You want partners. That
You
I'll
want
let you have.
partners. And if you really want them, change the attitude on your approach. I mean, I'm talking to myself right now, just so you all know. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm just saying I feel very clear that to gamify it will make it more interesting to track where I am today and what I could be doing in a month or even a week. What could I do that by doing it, my life will change? You know, we've heard that in bold somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that you're now open to looking at what those can be. So I'm going to just put one challenge here as we wrap up the half hour. Conversations, 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 period. Again, it's a foundational element. The one thing you can do to change your life is to gab all day till your voice is hoarse.
Mhm.
Okay? That's it. It will change your life. You'll get to know people. You'll build relationships. You'll do better at connecting. Don Hobbs, pop in. I see you want to close.
What if we connected with the sole purpose of planting trees and helping people, and there was no pressure because we're not forcing anybody to change something which we can't do anyway, and all we did was be a vehicle for a great conversation that opens minds and opens doors to their possibilities. Just a thought.
So, guys, today you're going to be planting seeds. It is Thursday, so get out there and plant with conversations. 12 to 1 Central. I'm in my room right here for anybody that wants to talk about financial freedom or do more work. And then again, we have our afternoon conversation time. And I've got all kinds of appointments with you guys. So you have filled my calendar today, and I love it. Can't wait to be pouring to Indio that are on my schedule. Otherwise, support each other in conversation time, 2 to 5 Central today. Help each other stay on task. Love y'all. We'll talk soon.
Love y'all.
Bye.